Hey, my name is Sydney, and I'm just doing my self-assessment thing. My background is that I was born in Thomasville, North Carolina. I'm 21 years old, but then I eventually moved to Charlotte to start kindergarten. I was there until eighth grade, and then I eventually moved to High Point, and I graduated from a high school in High Point, from Trinity High School in 2015. My major is nutrition with a concentration of dietetics, and my minor is exercise science. My big five results was ocean. I had 33% open-mindedness, 95% conscientiousness, 73% extroversion, and 89% agreeableness, with a 44% negative emotionality, which I actually really disagree, because I would actually consider myself like super organized, and I'm pretty sure I have a little bit of OCD. I'm very outgoing. I talk to a lot of people. And how others would perceive me is as outgoing. I can be introverted when I need to be. When I need to get work done, I just kind of like isolate myself from everybody. Um, and then also when I just don't feel like doing anything, I'll just be in my room. Um, Especially because I do have a very busy schedule, which I have a job as well as school. I'm very courteous to others, and I'll take others into consideration. And I'm very good with putting myself in other people's shoes and trying to look from their perspective to see how they would feel if a certain thing happened to them. Some of my key life events, I worked at Krispy Kreme, and then I also worked at Chipotle. Krispy Kreme was my very first job. I was a cashier. I was also in charge of working the drive-through as well as getting people's orders together. You had to be very fast, especially when working in the drive-through, just because the line will build up very fast. We also had all sorts of kind of specials that would go on, and it would get really busy. And if you weren't fast, then like it would just slow the line down. You also had to keep everything clean at the very end of the night. You were responsible for stocking up everything that you use, such as like cups, straws, any of the milks, and you were in charge of taking inventory of all the donuts that were left over, and all the ones with glaze on it you were supposed to throw away. And there was just a bunch of different rules that you had to follow, especially when closing. And Chipotle was actually even more strict on that, just because of the whole thing that they went through. Um, Also, they have meats involved in their thing, so it's a lot more difficult for them. But it's just a lot more work to put into it. But it was pretty much the same concept. You had to take inventory. I was always in charge of. You first started out on the line, and you started out down at tortilla, and then you moved up to salsa, and then you move to cashier, and it's just a process. Like everything is step by step. But everything you have to do it super fast, just because of, especially just the company. Yeah, it's pretty hard, and it took me a little bit to get the hang of it. But once I got the hang of it, it was totally fine. Um, my short-term plan after college, well, actually in college, obviously I needed an internship to graduate. And then I do want to graduate college. And then once I do graduate school, I think I'm going to work for a little bit and take a little bit of a gap year. But then I definitely want to go back and get my RD, and become an RD and do my internship and stuff like that. And then my long term is, I do want to start a job as a registered dietitian, and I really want to work with kids or people with eating disorders, or maybe both. And then I also want to become a personal trainer on the side with my exercise science minor. Some of my strengths are, I'm very nice, I'm dedicated and very organized, and I'm pretty social, and I'm realistic. I'm like very honest, and I'll just straight up tell you how it is. Some of my weaknesses is that can be a weakness. But I can also be very shy when I'm first starting out, especially when I first start out at jobs. I'm like, very timid, and because I don't know what I'm doing and I'm scared to do something wrong, so I just don't do it. But whenever I realize that, like, what to do and how to do it, then I'm fine. But it just takes me a little bit of time to warm up to everybody. The most helpful activity for me was the mock interview assignment, just because it was nice to actually see a video of myself talking and how I would be interviewed. It was actually really beneficial because I actually had an interview the same exact week that I did that mock interview, so it helped me out a little bit. But yeah.